Good morning, everybody. This is Malini Chatterjee from OneMed Place, New York. OneMed Place is the home of OneMed Research and OneMed Radio. Today we have with us Dr. Claire Kruger, the CEO of Spherix Incorporated, and Dr. Robert Loder, who is the president of the company. Spherix, ticker SPEX on the NASDAQ, is a $3.5 million market cap company that has two units, really two subsidiaries within it. There is the research subsidiary that is focusing on developing drugs for metabolic syndrome, and a consulting subsidiary that works with a host of biotech, pharma, food, and nutraceuticals kind of companies, helping them navigate the FDA landscape. At this point, let me let Dr. Kruger and Dr. Loder do all the talking. Doctors, welcome. Good morning to you.
Good morning. We're very happy to be here.
May I just ask you to help our audience understand your business landscape, the two units of the company, the near-term goals of each unit, the kind of research products that you have in your pipeline and how you wish to proceed, and the kind of consulting clients that you have, and what is your pitch to new clients, and just help us understand the entire business model, please.
Sure. Well, as you know, we have two subsidiaries here at Spherix, Spherix Consulting and Biospherix. This is a very good business model for us for a small company because we're able to attract and retain within our consulting subsidiary a host of very good, experienced scientists with diverse backgrounds that are versed not only in science but in navigating regulatory landscape. These scientists we outsource consulting service to companies, food companies, pharmaceutical companies, biotech companies, and are able to bring in some additional needed revenue to support our being able to keep this staff in-house. These scientists also work on the other side of the fence in our Biospherix subsidiary, where we are working to develop drugs in the metabolic syndrome area. Right now, we have in our pipeline Tagatose, which I guess we'll speak a little bit more about later, but of course, as you know, which has undergone Phase 3 and Phase 2 clinical trials for diabetes. And we're developing some additional pipeline products now in an area that we think is going to be very, very beneficial for us, and that is in metabolic syndrome, particularly right now looking for treatment of dyslipidemia. And we have our lead candidate in that pipeline, SPX 106, which we are utilizing in combination with Tagatose, looking in our preclinical models for reduction of triglycerides and cholesterol. We're also looking at other potential beneficial effects of that combination in the metabolic syndrome area. We have several other pipeline candidates. These are licensed from University of Kentucky, and we are looking forward to actually submitting an IND for our combination SPX 106T therapy for treatment of dyslipidemia soon, getting into our first in human for that combination.
Very good. Now, Dr. Kruger, can you speak a little bit about the SPX 106 molecule, its patents, and what kind of clinical trials would you have to run? Are you, when you talk about metabolic syndrome and dyslipidemia, are you considering an orphan indication? And what is your understanding of what might be the time frame and what might be the patient numbers that you will have to deal with in these clinical trials going forward?
And I'll let Rob Loder speak to some of this. We are, as a small company, we believe it's very important to focus when we can on potentially looking for opportunities in the orphan indications. The regulatory hurdles are certainly lower. The cost and time to development certainly cheaper and quicker. So these are opportunities that we are trying to avail ourselves of whenever they present. So we've actually are carving out an orphan indication in the dyslipidemia area for our combination therapy. We have undergone, and I'll let Rob briefly describe those. We've done some pivotal preclinical studies to show proof of concept for that combination, and just completed the pivotal toxicology study of the SPX-106 component to assure ourselves that we have the safety profile required to go in with the drug doses that we want to be able to give in our first in-human. Tagatose, as you probably already know, is already under IND at FDA, and it's also approved for as an ingredient for food use in the U.S. and elsewhere. It's called generally recognized as safe. So we have a safety profile already established for the Tagatose portion of that combination drug. So I'll let Rob perhaps a little summary of some of the studies
SPX-106
that we've done of SPX-106, okay, and a little bit more about the orphan.
All right, thank you. So SPX-106 is a small molecule, 3-ring compound motif with a molecular weight a little over 400, and that's about all we can say about it because we're waiting for patent office action. It is soluble in water, but not tremendously soluble in water. We're going for an orphan indication, as you mentioned, obviously because the approval pathway is a little bit easier through FDA. It's a little bit quicker. You usually need 2 well-designed, controlled, placebo-controlled, obviously, studies to get to registration in that area with a few hundred patients. And the number of patients that you need depends on the size of the orphan population. Clearly, if you're going for a dyslipidemic application, there are some populations, familial hypercholesterolemic populations, for example, where there are only 50 known patients in the entire world. So you can't have a clinical trial with 1,000 patients in it if that's your subject population. But the nice thing about that is if you have close collaborations with universities like we do, we have the best access to those kinds of patients. And those are the patients that really need help, because if you have a genetic disorder that predisposes you to sky-high cholesterol, even a statin, which is the best drug we currently have available, is not good enough to get you the kind of response that you need. So we're going to start with SPX-106T and that kind of indication.
Very good. Dr. Lauder, I just want to ask you one historic question. So Tagatose had been in phase 3 clinical development in your hands back in the day, 2009, 2010, and you actually completed a successful phase 3 study on it. But there on out, what is your current thinking with the molecule?
Well, when we started in 2007 with Spherix turning it basically into a drug company, our idea was to do 1 or 2 phase 3 clinical trials and bring Tagatose to market. Unfortunately, in the middle of the first phase 3 clinical trial, Avandia basically blew up, and the FDA issued a new guideline new guidance for oral anti-diabetic medications. And in that guidance, they recommended additional phase 3 clinical trials and a large cardiovascular safety study. And when we priced that out, we couldn't find any scenario with our patent coverage limited to the U.S. There was just no scenario that would let us bring that forward with a positive return on investment in a U.S. product launch. So at the end of the phase 3 trial, we basically shelved the product and moved on to SPX-106T, which does have a positive ROI.
Very good. And Dr. Lauder, also on the research side, what news flow, what news events can we expect from Spherix in the months to come?
Well, we're finishing up our
calendar.
We're finishing up preclinical studies right now in SPX-106T, so there'll be a few more preclinical results on that, and then the IND filing, and then we'll start a human trial in 2012.
Very good. Thank you, doctors. I am very honored to speak to you today. I hope our listeners will learn a lot from this conversation and will start doing more research on the company. Will contact me, will contact you directly, and we can take it from there. Once again, we have Dr. Claire Kruger and Dr. Robert Lauder from Spherix Incorporated. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll be back soon. Bye-bye.